Good evening, and welcome to, well, honestly, I'm sitting at home, but it looks like I'm on the town common. But anyway, this evening, Norton Cable Access Corp. is pleased and proud to sponsor a debate for those seeking the office of town moderator in the town of Norton. My name is Bill Gavea. I'm your current town moderator for a few more days, as well as a columnist for the Sun Chronicle, and I will serve as moderator for the debate. Norton Media Center is a nonprofit corporation run by the Norton Cable Access Commission. The commission is appointed in part by the selectmen and made up of Norton residents who bring you local and public access programming. The funds to operate the studio and bring you programming such as this come from a portion of your cable bill. The purpose of this debate is to allow you, the citizens and voters, to hear directly from the candidates who seek to represent you. We hope you'll use the information and insights you gain as part of your decision-making process when you go to the new polling place, which is the Norton Middle School on Saturday, June 20th. That's the new polling place. Do not go to the old polling place because you won't be able to vote there, and then you'll get very mad. So it's the new polling place at the Norton Middle School on Saturday, June 20th. Did I mention it's a new polling place? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Now, as you can see, tonight's debate is a little different than in past years, and that's because the world is a little different than in past years right now. The COVID-19 virus and the health emergency rules have forced us to do these debates via Zoom. Ms. Sandy Olerhead has generously offered to handle the technical part of this, and bless her soul for doing that. While Jason Benjamin and Shane and their crack staff at Norton Media Center do the usual fantastic job of getting it on the air and presenting it to you. Before we introduce our candidates for a town moderator, let me just briefly outline the rules for this evening, all of which have been agreed to in advance by the candidates. Each candidate will get no more than 3 minutes to make an opening statement. They will go in order according to a coin flip prior to the debate. After opening statements, the candidates will be asked a question by me. All the questions come from me, and no one other than me has seen them since they were created. We did accept questions from the public if they emailed me, and I might be asking them, I might have reworded them, but in the end, the questions are on me. If you think they're fair, unfair, good or bad, it's all me, you can blame me. Each candidate will have no more than 3 minutes to answer the question, and all candidates will be asked the same question. After the last candidate is answered, each will get 1 minute for rebuttal. After the last question, the candidates will be given no more than 3 minutes to make a closing statement. Again, they will go in order determined by a coin flip before the debate. The time for each candidate will be kept by the moderator and my lovely wife, who is sitting off to the side and holding her cell phone so that I can see it. When only 15 seconds remain, I will warn the candidates by holding up this, because as you'll see during the debate, we get muted and unmuted, and there's nothing more embarrassing than talking and telling someone to stop when they can't hear you. So I'll wave this at the 15-second mark, and if it gets down to 0, I'll wave my arms, and the candidates will know that they need to stop, or Sandy or somebody will just mute it. If they do not end in time, it'll be my job to, as politely as we can, stop them to ensure fairness for all. With that all said and done, let us now move to the forum for a town moderator. There are 2 challengers this year seeking to replace me as I retire from the position. It is my pleasure to introduce them in alphabetical order. Our first candidate is Mr. Walter Eichel, and then next to him is Mr. Bob Kimball. Candidates, welcome to the Norton Media Center debate. Now, in accordance with our coin flip, we'll begin our opening statement with Mr. Kimball.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Moderator, for allowing us to have the opportunity to express ourselves in these trying times. Also to Cable Access for making this all public. And also thank you, Sandy, for taking the reins of making sure we get recorded properly and done properly. So, with that, my name is Bob Kimball, and I'm running for moderator in the town of Norton. As a prior town selectman, I ran my original campaign on the promises of vision and commitment. I believe I have lived up to those words in my past 24 years of elected service, and I will continue to do so as moderator. The position of town moderator is very important. The moderator needs to oversee a town meeting 2 times a year with total control, or where everyone feels comfortable to express their ideas and opinions in a friendly and courteous atmosphere. During this national crisis, we need leadership that understands how government runs. The moderator also has a task of appointing open-minded individuals to serve as members of our Finance Committee. Having served on the Finance Committee myself, I know how important it is to appoint people dedicated to do what is right for the town. We have open-minded long-term FinCom members who have served the town well while reviewing each request. I want to make sure that Finance Committee members continue to lead our town with the credibility as they've done in the past. We may not always agree, but at the end of the day, we are still neighbors. In addition to my prior experience of having served on the Board of Selectmen and Capital Improvement Committee, I also served on other town committees, including chairing the COSAC Committee, chairing the Town Common Revitalization Committee, Cemetery Commission, to mention a few. I have also served on many other committees over the years, including the Finance Committee for 4 years, which I chaired in 1988. I am past president of the Bristol County Selectmen's Association. I served as a member of the Bristol County Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is part of SERPED, and have participated in many events with the Massachusetts Municipal Association. In addition, I have been attending and participating in Norton town meetings since 1986. I have experience running town meetings and running 5 meetings. I am not a newcomer to town government. I have a clear understanding of how all facets of town government does work, and experience does matter. Our small town atmosphere is changing. We need to have a moderator who can assist in the many changes being proposed on how we run our town. I will continue to lead the town with vision and commitment for the next 3 years as I have done in the past. I want to thank the Norton citizens for your past support and guidance. And please take the time to vote on Saturday, June 20th at the Norton Middle School. And please make your vote count. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. And now we'll go for our second closing statement, and Mr. Eichel.
Hi, my name is Walter Eichel, and I'm running for the position of Town Moderator. Thanks again to Bill, Sandy, Norton Cable Access for making this happen. I think this is going to be a great resource for the voters to get to hear from the candidates directly, and I appreciate their efforts to make that happen. Myself, I've lived in Norton for over 30 years, and I'm currently a member of the Town Finance Committee. My 3 children went through our excellent school system, and 1 graduated from Southeastern Regional High School. I'm a software engineer working in the medical device industry for the past 11 years. I've volunteered with many local sports teams with my children and the Scouts, and been involved with lots of town activities over the years. I'm running for the role of moderator because I want to continue to contribute to the town and to make a difference. I see the role of moderator as more than just running the annual town meeting and appointing the Finance Committee. The moderator must also make the town meeting a place where residents find a fair and open forum, and residents feel comfortable, informed, and empowered to set the direction of the town. As moderator, I will do everything I can to see that all that happens. So, in addition to the important role of running our town meeting, the moderator has the vital role of appointing members of the Finance Committee. Since the Finance Committee is the group that reviews the town budget in conjunction with the town manager and department heads, it's worth considering who you would like to see in the position to appoint those members. The person elected to the role of moderator will have significant influence on the makeup of that Finance Committee. As moderator, I will work to make town meeting a productive part of our government and ensure that the Finance Committee reflects the goals and makeup of the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eichel. Thank you, Mr. Kimball. And now we will go to our first question. And the first question will start with Mr. Eichel. But again, all candidates will be asked the same question. Mr. Eichel, The elected town charter commission is currently reviewing possible changes, and they'll make a recommendation that'll have to be voted. But they already several months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, voted the recommendation that they will recommend going to a town council form of government that will eliminate the board of selectmen and eliminate town meeting and eliminate the moderator's position. The details are pretty well worked out, but speaking at least of the concept of doing that, since you're going to be taking over moderator, people want to know how you feel about that. Do you favor making the switch to a town council form of government, or do you favor staying with the town manager? And we're looking for the straight up answer, not the, oh, gee, I haven't had time to look at everything and blah, 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 that so many. And I know you're both straightforward people, so I know we'll get that. So, Mr. Reichel, starting with you.
Thank you. Well, I would say there's no better time than right now to review our government structure. Evaluating the operation of our government and making changes when necessary is essential for a healthy government that continues to meet the needs of the townspeople. So I'm very open to hearing the recommendations from the great group of people on the team, and I look forward to the discussions that their proposal brings about. As for the specific examples that you gave, or the specific proposals that you made, I personally agree with them. I think that form of government better reflects the new makeup of the town. While we have the town meeting and we think it's a great way to go, I'm not sure that it serves the needs of the majority of the townspeople. And I think we can judge that by the attendance. It's often difficult to get to. It's not a fun process. And a lot of people have more important things than to spend a night or two making budget decisions and other decisions that they don't necessarily feel has a direct impact on their day-to-day lives. So I am in fact very excited to hear the Charter Commission's proposals. I'm looking forward to debating them. I'm sure there'll be lots of lively debate about that. I'm looking forward to participating in that. And I am in fact in favor of moving forward with a lot of things that I have heard from the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Reichel. Mr. Kimball, same question to you. The Charter Commission is currently reviewing the changes, but back in January or February, they made the decision and voted to recommend a move to a town council form of government. Given that would eliminate the board of selectmen, the town moderator, the town meeting. Given all that, I think people want to know, where do their candidates stand on that? Are you in favor of that? Are you opposed to that? Want to keep town meeting going forward? As far as the concept, and in the straightforward manner that you both are known for, are you in favor of that or opposed to that?
So yeah, I mean, I agree the town needs to look at various forms of government to see what works best for us. With this pandemic we're in now, it's obvious that we found it difficult to run our town efficiently, and other options should be looked at. The role of moderator would be, again, to run an open meeting, allow people to speak, allow them to be comfortable in an atmosphere that they feel they can express their ideas and thoughts. The good thing about being a moderator is you get the opportunity to allow everyone the opportunity to voice their opinion and speak and have their say on the proposal. Before the pandemic, I would have mixed feelings about how it was going to work as far as changing our form of government. But I do agree now that we need to look at other options besides what we're presently trying to do. I'm not sure we're ready for a town council. I'm not sure if we're ready for a representative town meeting. But I am interested in hearing what the elected Charter Commission has to offer and what their suggestions are. To be honest with you, I haven't listened to all their meetings and listened to all the details. I have a pretty good understanding about what they're doing. But again, the role of moderator will be to moderate and make sure everyone gets an opportunity. Talking about a very emotional thing in town that's going to change the way we run our government. So at this time, I agree that we need to look at other options. And I look forward to getting more information so I can make a logical, straight answer and a straight vote on what I'm going to do. and give people the opportunity to also get more information and make a decision based on what they think is best for the town of Norton. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Eichel, 1 minute for any rebuttal you might have.
Well, I haven't been as involved as I would have liked, but from what I've heard, the Charter Commission has done an incredible job of surveying local towns, surrounding towns, to see what has happened, what has changed in their form of government. And a lot of what I've heard is supports their direction, the proposals that they've made. So I think we can look to other towns to see what has worked for them and incorporate as much of that as we can into our decision process. And I do look forward to that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Any rebuttal for you for up to 1 minute there?
No, I agree with what Walter is saying. I think the Commission has done a terrific job of bringing people from other towns in, town managers, other communities, big and small, to get input from how their town is working with a different type of government. So I think it's important to understand that they have done a lot of work. They have done a lot of research, and I'm looking forward to getting a lot more of that information in public hearings in the future. My understanding that the charter change will not go before a town meeting, it will go directly to the ballot. But I also understand that the Charter Commission will be having many public hearings, so I look forward to attending those and getting a better idea of how these changes will work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. The next question we'll lead off with Mr. Kimball going first. Mr. Kimball, whichever one of you wins, your first town meeting as a moderator will be during a global pandemic. You will have a full week to prepare for that. While the meeting is a joint effort by a lot of town departments and people, in the end, the final decision to hold the meeting at all or postpone it up to 30 days or adjourn it in the middle if safety appears to be a problem rests with you as the moderator. You are responsible for the meeting once it starts and for making sure it's being conducted safely. How will you as moderator evaluate that? What will you do if you observe behavior at the meeting that might be considered outside of the governor's standards for public safety?
Well, I've been attending these meetings with the public safety departments, trying to set up a safe place for all of us to meet. It's my understanding right now that the meeting will be held outside on the football field, and an open air session that will allow people not to allow flow of air to go between the people and through the tents. I've seen the layouts. I believe that they've done an excellent job of preparing, and you're trying to get the right setup so that everyone feels comfortable and feels like they can participate without having to worry about their personal health. I would add that once I'm there, if I feel that people are not being treated in a safe manner, I would be obligated to reschedule the meeting to a later date. As long as everyone who is presently setting up the meeting does what we plan on doing, we should be okay. But at any point, if I feel that people do not have the opportunity to feel safe, they don't have the opportunity to speak in a manner or ask questions in an open session, I definitely will move and postpone the meeting to a further date. I am confident that the public safety people have done a very good job of preparing, and as long as they have done so, we should be okay. And I would encourage anyone out there that has any reservations to call the Board of Health and ask any questions you might have, but they've done a very good job of spacing people and making sure everyone's going to be able to conduct the town meeting in an open and safe manner. And hopefully you can all attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. And Mr. Eichel, same question to you. Your first town meeting, if you're elected, As moderator will be during a global pandemic, you will have a whole week to prepare. While the meeting is a joint effort by a lot of departments and good people working hard, in the end, the final decision on the safety of the meeting, holding the meeting at all, postponing it for up to 30 days, or adjourning it for safety reasons rests solely with you as the moderator once it starts. You are responsible. How will you evaluate that? What will you do if you observe behavior at the meeting that might be considered outside of the governance standards for public safety?
Well, as you know, Bill, the Board of Health agent has done a tremendous job of planning for all eventualities, given guidance from the state. And fortunately, Mr. Kimball and I have been involved with that. So even though, as you say, we'll only have a week between the election and the first town meeting, fortunately, there will be a tremendous amount of planning and discussing that has already happened before even the election. So fortunately, I don't feel like we're going to go into that with just a week's planning and a week's preparation. Whoever is elected moderator will have the benefit of a couple of weeks of planning and guidance from both town officials and state officials. So the moderator will need to rely on that and to lean on that when making decisions. As you say, if the meeting goes forward and the moderator observes unsafe behavior, there are avenues for taking care of that. We will have lots of signage for what we would like the participants to do and how we would like them to behave. And I think we all largely expect that to go very smoothly. The people that go to town meeting are there because they want to be there. They want to be safe. They want to be heard. So they're going to operate in a manner that helps us to make the town meeting successful. So I will be looking to the guidance from our townspeople and the state leaders to decide whether to move forward and how to proceed once the day actually comes. But I think, as I said, there's a tremendous amount of planning that's already happened that we can lean on, so that when we finally get to June 27th, we will have as much comfort as possible given the current situation, knowing that we've done the best job we can to make the process smooth, safe, and accessible for the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kimball, anything you'd like to add in 1 minute?
Yeah, I mean, Walter did a great job of covering most of it. The Board of Health and the Public Safety departments have done a very, very good job. As Walter indicated, they've already planned most of the session and how it's going to run. I will tell you that I'm very confident in the procedures that they're putting forward, the rules and regulations that will be followed, the opportunity for people to be tested if they want to be tested, as far as the temperature and that type of stuff. They'll have masks available, gloves, hand sanitizer, everything's going to be there. So I'm pretty confident right now that based on what I know as of today, we can have a meeting that's going to be allow people to be open, at the same time be safe. And I think all the town departments have done a great job of preparing for this and making us moderator candidates look pretty good at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. And Mr. Reichel, anything you'd like to add in 1 minute?
I would encourage anyone interested in attending the town meeting that feels uncomfortable about any aspect of that to reach out to town officials, the Board of Health, the Board of Health agent, the town manager, whoever they feel comfortable communicating with, to get more information on what will be happening. That being said, communication will be a big part of this, and the group that has already met to make plans for the meeting understand that getting information out to the voters is very important, and that will happen. So look for that information. It will be coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And we'll go to the next question, and that question will go first to Mr. Eichel. Mr. Eichel, appointing the Finance Committee is a very important part of being moderator. You have both served as Finance Committee members in the past. Over the last half century that I know I've been around, it's been generally considered to be one of the most effective and certainly most important committees in town. What standards would you use in appointing FinCom members? What will you look for? What procedures would you use? And how would you find and judge potential appointees?
Well, the Finance Committee is more than just a financial organization, as the name implies. But this committee reviews all the issues presented to the voters at the town meeting. So that means FinCom members need to be able to receive and process information on a wide variety of topics related to town operation, not just financial matters. So potential members of the board would need to be able to take that information, interact and debate with other members, and make good policy-based decisions that benefit the town. Potential members, committee members, should have an interest in serving the town and be able to bring skills, knowledge, and commitment to that role. The moderator is responsible for choosing among the applicants to find the best fit for the town. So it's important to choose a moderator who will appoint members who will reflect the town and can contribute to the best operation of the committee. In the past, I know the moderators have often reached out to particular individuals who may have some background or some interest in the committee. But I know that once knowledge of an opening is made, that people will also seek out the moderator and other town officials to learn how to become a member of the Finance Committee. So I think there's a couple ways of doing that. Public notices, discussion at the Finance Committee meeting and at the town meetings about upcoming openings, and just informing the public about the opportunities available for becoming a FinCom member. More people are eligible and suitable for it than you might think, or that they might think. So I think part of the moderator's job is seeking out as many good qualified people as possible and encouraging them to get involved. That's how I became involved, and I can see myself following and Bill, your footsteps in seeking out members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eichel. Mr. Kimball, same question to you. Appointing the Finance Committee is a large part of being the moderator. You have both served on the FinCom before. Over the last 50, 60 years that I know of, it's certainly been considered one of the more effective and important committees in town. What standards would you use in appointing FinCom members? What will you look for? What procedures would you use? And how would you find and judge potential appointees?
Yeah, I think having served the town as a selectman for 24 years has given me the experience needed to appoint people to positions that, that are more suited for them. I know over the years I've made recommendations to people, maybe not to seek appointment this committee, but I think you do a better job if you're on that committee. I would continue to do that. I'm going to appoint FinCom members who are willing to put in the time, are open-minded, will dedicate themselves to look at all facets of how the town works. And above all, to make Norton the best place it can be and have their desire to make it that way. I will not always agree with my appointees. I haven't in the past, but I do respect their decision based on what the information is brought before them and, based on the facts that are given to them so they can make a decision. In my years of serving Norton, the FinCom has always taken the lead. They've always shown us the right direction to go financially. They've led us through the difficult zoning issues that might come up, and above all, they usually highly respected. And I will continue to strive to point people on both sides of the issue and make decisions based on what is best for the town of Norton. Having said that, I would probably end up interviewing people to find out what their thoughts are and what direction they see the town going in. Having served myself, I know that sometimes I was on the minority side of it, and then other times I find myself on the majority side. But at the end of the meetings, I always found it refreshing that we could walk away, shake hands, and agree to disagree. So that's the kind of person I'll be looking for. We'll not always agree, obviously. Don't expect to agree all the time. But I want someone who's focused on making Norton the best it can be and is dedicated to the time it takes to make that happen. I will also educate people on how the Finance Committee works, that they understand how it is. And having served myself again, I understand that there's a lot of interesting parts to it. But what I found most interesting was really finding out how the town works. If you want to know how the town of Norton works day to day, join the Finance Committee. And I would encourage you to do that if elected or not. But hopefully we'll have some open-minded people that'll step forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Mr. Reichel, anything you'd like to add in 1 minute?
Well, I would encourage anybody interested to reach out and participate in the Finance Committee meetings. Like all the other town meetings, they are recorded and broadcast. So while they may not make for riveting entertainment, they can be very informative as far as how the town is run. And while I don't have the numbers, I would love to know the number of years of seniority that the Finance Committee members have in total. I can guarantee you it's a large number, which indicates a very stable, qualified group of people. So I encourage townspeople to reach out and learn about the Finance Committee and see who's on it and see what they do. You will be interested, I guarantee. Thank you.
Whoops, there. Thank you. And Ms. Kimball, anything you'd like to add in 1 minute?
Yeah, I mean, as a selectman, I attended many Finance Committee meetings just basically to find out what was going on, and was always impressed by the professional mannerism that the board exercised. Open discussion, looking at the issues based on what they had in front of them, and trying to make the most logical decision they could. So I've always had the utmost respect for the Finance Committee, and will continue to do so. And again, as both candidates are saying, anyone who's interested needs to reach out to the moderator, another Finance Committee member, someone, find out how it works, and get involved. The best thing you can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Now the next question, we will start with Mr. Kimball. Mr. Kimball, one of the biggest problems at town meetings in recent years has been a lack of preparation and constantly changing, zoning articles, changing languages, changing motions, meetings an hour before the meeting that completely changed what had been distributed to the townspeople, resulting in confusing motions, amendments, and a general lack of preparation that some tell me that moderators have been very frustrated by and get angry about. What can you do about that? How will you change that? What can be done to get officials to avoid constantly changing controversial matters at the last minute before you go to town meeting?
Well, I've shared your frustration attending these meetings and not being well prepared beforehand, making decisions at 6 o'clock at night, an hour away to discussing the articles. What I would first do is, as an elected moderator, would be to send a letter to all departments, town departments, advising them that I will expect that the final document presented to the Finance Committee be the document that's going to be raised and discussed at town meeting. If for any reason there's going to be any minor changes, I would agree that we could take a look at those. But any major modifications to a point where everyone gets totally confused, even during the session, I would shut it down and suggest that the article be tabled to the next meeting. I don't believe that we should try to inform people at town meeting at the very last minute. I think people should have the opportunity to look ahead of time, read and understand what they think they're going to be discussing at town meeting and go forward. So basically answer your question, I would expect that everyone be prepared in advance and everyone be ready to go at town meeting. If it gets beyond the scope of the article, where it's almost to a point where it gets very confusing, I would just automatically, as moderator, check with legal counsel to find out the right way to table the item for a future town meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Mr. Eichel, same question to you. One of the biggest problems, especially recently at town meeting, has been the lack of preparation. Zoning articles, new regulations, other complicated matters that see last minute changes that result in the townspeople not having what they need in front of them. And that has angered moderators in the past. It has angered other officials. How can you change that? What can you do as moderator to make sure that officials changing things at the last minute, an hour before the meeting, and running into controversial matters doesn't happen at town meeting?
Well, I'm not sure that we can completely solve that problem, but since I am currently on the Finance Committee, I certainly have experienced that exact situation very recently, as you know. So what that means for anybody not familiar with it, we often meet right before the town meeting, and occasionally, more often than we'd like, we are presented with significant changes to the written distributed warrant to the Finance Committee. And we're often required to vote at last minute with very short information. And so that the Finance Committee understands the problems with that. And we understand that the townspeople, the voters who actually attend the meetings, are dealing with exactly the same problem. So voters can take a little solace in that the Finance Committee also experiences those problems. So we understand the risks and the frustrations that come about with last minute significant changes to warrant article items. So what can we do about that? Well, I think we can all agree that we need to work with the department heads and the committees that are actually submitting the warrant articles and impress on them the need for complete and final information in the printed warrant. I know that they strive for that, but there's often lots of reasons that it doesn't happen. So we need to study what has happened in the past, look at the recent examples of significant last minute changes, and try to look out for those in the future and pass those along to other department heads and committee heads to say, these are the types of things that can cause problems for meeting attendees. So we need to head them off. We need to be aware that these types of changes cause significant stress on the meeting process and the attendees, and that it's worth the effort to avoid them in the first place. So learning from what we've encountered in the past will be invaluable, I think. We've got some perfect examples of significant changes, so I think we can build on that knowledge to try to avoid it in the future. I would hope that we don't get to the point where we have to start dropping articles that are really important to the town because of this. So the moderator and all the other actors in the town meeting process need to work together to head off these problems and to make sure that they don't happen. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eichel. Mr. Kimball, 1 minute for anything you'd like to add?
One thing I would add is, sitting there myself and participating in town meeting, when I get a lot of information at the last minute, it always makes me a bit nervous. It diminishes the credibility of the Finance Committee. It diminishes the credibility of the selectmen. and it pretty much diminishes the credibility of town meetings. You know, these are how sometimes bylaws get passed that we really didn't understand, and then when it happens and you have something being built next to you, as an example, you start screaming and say, when did that happen? Well, that happened in a town meeting, 2 years ago. So getting the right information in print prior to the town meeting will be my number one goal, with the understanding that any changes I will look at with a very suspicious eye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. And Mr. Eichel, anything you'd like to add in up to a minute?
Just complete agreement. We understand that information for the voters is critical to the operation of the town. So it makes sense that we give them the best information so that the meeting runs the way it should, and the people feel comfortable in making decisions based on the information we provide.
Thank you very much. And now, gentlemen, we're going to move to the next question. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to be firm and say that this is the last question. I know you'd like about 8 more, but we'll just have to call this the last one. And this one will start with Mr. Eichel. Mr. Eichel, they say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So why do so few people attend town meeting? We've held them on different nights. We've held them on weekends. We've held them at different times and places. We've changed the warrant. We've done all kinds of things. But unless there is an override or other really controversial topic, the turnout is usually between 0.5% and 2% of registered voters. Is that acceptable to you? What would or can you and the town do to increase attendance? And if attendance does increase greatly, how would you handle the increased crowd and probable increase in the length, difficulty, and cost of the meetings? Other than that, it's a simple question.
Okay, so I see you're ending the debate with a simple, easy, off-the-cuff type question. Well, that's a great one. And anyone who is a regular attendee of the town meetings knows exactly what you're talking about. We budget large areas that can accommodate lots of the voters, a good percentage of the voters, and we know perfectly well that there will be lots of empty seats, except in the special cases that you mentioned, overrides and other large issues like that. As for what we do about that, that's the tough question that the entire town has been trying to address. So I would say a great solution or a great a mechanism of addressing that is in fact the Charter Review Committee. That they've got the opportunity and the goal and the ability to propose changes that will work better for the townspeople. They've done so many interviews with local people, neighboring towns, and their research is just exhaustive. So if anybody can solve the problem of participation in town meeting or just participation in town government in whatever form that takes, I think the Charter Commission is the answer to that. It is the effort that we haven't completed in the past to try to address the attendee problem. As I said, I'm very excited to hear more about their proposal, and I'm very confident that their proposal will lead to better involvement from the voters, whether that's in-person town meetings or a representative town meeting or some other form that allows people to participate. And if attending town meeting isn't the best way to go, I know that there are other good ways out there, and I'm looking forward to hearing what those ways are. And I think that's the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Kimball, same question to you. The definition of insanity, they say, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Why do so few people attend town meeting? We've had them on different nights, on weekends. We've changed the rules. We've changed the warrants. We've gone to a 0 quorum. We've done everything that that you can pretty much do. And yet, unless there's an override or a really controversial zoning article or something, the turnout is usually between 0.5% and 2% of the registered voters. Is that acceptable? What would or can you and the town do to increase attendance? And if attendance does increase greatly, how would you handle the increased crowd and probable increase in the length, difficulty, and cost of the meetings?
Here I am. It's an interesting question. After participating myself for over 30 years, I've seen big town meetings, I've seen small ones. You get a special article on the warrant, a lot of people show up. I find it frustrating myself. It's not only in the town meeting, it's even the elections. Recent elections have been very, very small. And, I know people are busy today. I know they're trying to make a living and make ends meet. This pandemic has totally thrown everything out of kilter here. So it's making it very difficult for people to find the time to do much of anything. But, encouraging people to come, giving them, a safe atmosphere where they feel they can discuss issues is very, very important. Having backup contingency plans and let people know in advance that, if this town meeting, say for an override, becomes too big, we are going to look at other opportunities, other locations in town that can maybe handle a larger venue. My opinion is Wheaton College has a couple of facilities that we have never taken advantage of. And depending on the time of year, we probably should look at, using that as a venue, a building on campus instead of some of our own public buildings. As we continue to grow as a town, hopefully some of the new people will again understand. I don't believe that most people today understand how government works. And because of that, they don't bother to waste the time to come to meetings and come to town meetings especially. So my hope and desire would be that we continue to explore other opportunities, teach civics in school again, teach them what it's all about, what it is to become involved, make them understand how important it is for them to come out on a crappy rainy night, and stand in line and do what you can do to make the town a better place. But I think it's an ongoing challenge. I am also interested in seeing what the Charter Commission comes up with and some of their recommendations. I know that during this pandemic, it's been really interesting trying to watch both state and local government work. And obviously what we're trying to do, like the Zoom debate tonight, doesn't work, not as well as it should. I appreciate the effort to try to make it work, but I've been on a number of Zoom meetings recently where it just doesn't, you don't get the feel and touch the way you should, or be able to read the crowd. So we have to continue to explore, find new ways, get more people involved, appoint new people to committees so that they understand what's going on, explain how committees work. I think that's all very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Mr. Eckel, Mr. Eckel, one minute or anything else you'd like to add?
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually pleased that I'm involved during this process of reviewing the form of government that we've got. I know we've tried it in the past, but this effort that's going on right now, I think is very serious and very hopeful. So I'm pleased to be here right now and experiencing this, and I'm looking forward to the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kimball, anything you'd like to add in the last minute?
Yeah, I believe that the Charter Commission has done an excellent job of again getting the information needed to make a presentation to the townspeople, and hopefully the townspeople will have an open mind, watch the presentation, ask their questions, and make sure that they understand what the proposal or the changes are going to be. During all this, emotions are going to run high. I understand that. And I do believe I'm the right candidate for the job because someone's going to have to control some of these meetings in a manner that allows each other to be respectful to each other, get their opinion expressed, be open-minded, and at the end of the day, go home and remember we are all neighbors. And that's a very, very important issue. So, but that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now we will go to the closing arguments. And according to our coin flip agreement, I believe the first closing argument will come from Mr. Kimball.
Okay, I'm there now. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to get my message out to the people in Norton, to make them understand that you know, I'm here to what I believe do what I think is best for the community. I have no hidden agenda. I never have. Everyone pretty much has known what's on the top of my mind. With 28 years of experience in town government, I know how the system works. Having gone to town meetings for over 30 years, it's definitely something that I'm very familiar with. I'm always around. I'm retired now, so I'm definitely around. My wife's not pleased about all that, but I am around town most of the time. I'm here to listen, respond. I'm always available. I still have a home phone. I have a cell phone that most, I believe, people have in their phones also. So, you know, we got a lot of changes coming forward, and I just feel that we need to have someone that can just make sure everything goes in the right direction, make sure we do things legally, so we're not going back and having to redo things in the future. There are many challenges coming in the next 3 years. I do believe I have the experience to help these towns with these changing times. One other thing I would suggest, and depending on what goes on with the charter change, if it takes too long to pass or for whatever reason it stalls, one change that I would like to make as a moderator would be the way we appoint the officials, the people to the finance committee. My recommendation would be to make a charter change that would allow one select board member, a school committee member, a planning board member, board of assessor, board of sewer commissioner, the last 5 elected committees and boards we have, to allow one of them to make one appointment to the finance committee and allow the moderator to make the other 6. I believe it would open up a much bigger group of people coming from different points of view, and it's something that I would definitely look into. Whether or not it's legal or not, I don't know. I'd have to find out. But it's something I would look into. But again, I appreciate it. I encourage everyone to come out next Saturday, a week from Saturday, the 20th, to vote at the Norton Middle School. And I hope to see you there, and I thank you for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. And Mr. Eichel, you can bring us home with your closing statement, please.
Thank you, Bill. In closing, I'm running for town moderator because I'm very committed to being a fair, impartial, and effective representative of town government for the benefit of the residents of Norton at town meetings. My years in town and time on the finance committee and the many town meetings I've attended over the years have provided me with the interest and tools to be an effective moderator. I commit to bring my new ideas to town and contribute to the advancement of town interests in all areas of town government and life. I also commit to make sure that everyone is heard at town meetings and that the meetings work to improve the town every year. I invite you all to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns about the moderator race or town in general. You can reach me on my Facebook page, Walter Eichel for Moderator, or via email at weichel@computer.org. I look forward to hearing from you. I'd like to thank Bill Gouveia, not only for running this debate, but for his tremendous contributions to the town of Norton for many years. For myself, I know I'll continue to look to you and your Sun Chronicle contributions for knowledge and insight, I hope, for many years to come. Finally, to all of Norton, come out and vote on Saturday, June 20th, and please consider a vote for me, Walter Eichel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Walter. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving of your time. People don't realize what it takes to run for public office and the commitment that's involved. So I give you both full credit for understanding that and for offering yourself. Well, that completes our debate for the evening. I would like to thank our candidates, Walter Eichel and Bob Kimball, for giving of their time to run and for giving you this chance to hear their thoughts and positions. We wish them each good luck on June 20th. That's Saturday, June 20th. It's at the middle school. It's a new polling place. Don't go to the old polling place. You won't find anybody there. It's a new polling place, the Norton Middle School. The polls are open, from I think 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Go to the Norton Middle School to vote. I would also like to thank Jason Benjamin and everyone at Norton Media Center for doing the real work and making this entire production possible. Thank you, Shane. Without Norton Media Center, the voters would not have this opportunity to hear from their candidates directly. And thank you so much to Sandy Otherhead for her great, I say great help, not great help, for running this meeting, for doing that, and I could not be more grateful to her. Lastly, in case I hadn't said it, we remind everyone that Election Day is Saturday, June 20th, and that it is a change from the usual Monday or Tuesday you might be used to for town elections, and the polling place has changed. It's at the Norton Middle School and not the high school. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and if you are unable to vote in person or don't want to vote given the circumstances going on in person, which is understandable, you can obtain ballots from the town clerk in advance. See the link on the town website, call the town clerk's office. They're great, they'll help you. It's a very simple process. We all understand the pressure on people these days as we deal with the ongoing effects of COVID-19 on all of our lives, but we hope that you can find a way to vote in this very important local election. It always amazes me how many people come out to vote for president and then how few come out to vote for their select board or moderator or other local offices. Your local government plays a much more direct role in your life than your federal government does, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't believe that, then the next time someone proposes something in your neighborhood, or the train line is coming close to your home, or something in your sewer connection is costing you a fortune, or there's an asphalt plant planning to move next door, call the president. Then call your select board member or your moderator or your planning board member and let me know who gets back to you first and who is the most helpful in doing that. And lastly, before I close, I just want to say I have about 10 more days left as your moderator, and that will cap for me, although I'm not going anywhere, but that will cap for me basically 46 years as a town official in this town. But the last 12 years as moderator. And I want to tell you two gentlemen right here, right now, that you may think you know what it means to be moderator, but until you hold the position, until you've walked in the footsteps of Joe Yell and Gene Boyle and those people, you don't know. You really don't know. It's a special position, and it holds a special place in the hearts of Norton citizens. They expect a lot, they demand a lot, they get mad at you, but they look to you. They look to you at that town meeting for fairness. You're the one. You can't pass the buck. There's no other committee, and there's no other way around it. You are the person that has to make the decision. It's a special relationship. I treasure it. I thank the people in Norton for allowing me to do it for the past 12 years, and I know they're going to trust one of you too. Good luck to both of you. I wish you nothing but good, and if there's any help I can give to you, I know both of you so well, all you have to do is ask. Your local government plays an important role in your life. It is your duty and your responsibility to take an active part in choosing the people who run it. Please do so safely, and please all stay healthy. And remember, your vote today is perhaps more important than it's ever been. For Norton Media Center, I'm Bill Gabert. Thank you, and happy voting.